Hey guys, your average programmer here, and the reason I created this YouTube channel is to encourage people that if I can become a software engineer, you can too. And today I just want to answer a question I've been getting lately, especially during this pandemic, on how to become a web developer. And my answers here would also apply to anyone who is trying to be maybe is a mobile application developer. Uh, so here are my tips to getting your first developer job in 2020. And I'm assuming you're starting from zero to little experience. My first advice is to be patient. You should realize that Rome wasn't built in a day, as people always say. So think about it like you are trying to become a carpenter. You are not going to become a carpenter in 1 month. You start your journey to becoming a carpenter, and even in 1 year, you might become a carpenter. But as the years go by, you are going to get better. And for those starting afresh, I always recommend two places to learn any kind of software engineering, web development. My first suggestion is Team Treehouse. And this is a little on the expensive side, but it's one I think is worth it. So this is Team Treehouse, and you basically pay about $25 every month, and I think it's worth it. So, and then my other suggestion is Udemy. So, unlike Team Treehouse, Udemy lets Udemy is like a market where people post tutorials, unlike Team Treehouse, where it's like monitored, it's one company putting out tutorials by many teachers, but it's streamlined. And Udemy is more like a marketplace. So my advice on Udemy is if you are going to go on the Udemy route, make sure you look at how many students are taking the course and the ratings. I would say don't take a course that is less than 4.5 rating. But if you can afford it for $25 a month, go with Team Treehouse. And another advantage of that is when you invest $25 a month, you it will make you learn because you know if you don't take your classes, your $25 is just going to waste. Udemy lets you purchase courses for $12, and once you purchase the course, it's yours for life. So that might make you a little bit complacent and not take the courses as much as you should. Personally, the way I used Team Treehouse is that after taking a few of the courses on Team Treehouse and completing some of the projects, I then went on Udemy to learn more. And at $10 for a course, I could take my time and just use Udemy to build on the knowledge I got from Team Treehouse. So another information you should know is that this is going to be a slow process. Like I said, you won't if you can't become a carpenter in 1 month, then you can't become a web developer, an application developer in 1 month. And sometimes it's going to be frustrating, like any other job, any other trade, whether you are learning in school or you are learning at a boot camp, it's going to be frustrating at times. But if I could do it, anybody can. Another advice I give is to set a schedule and be accountable. So if you have a friend, a wife, a spouse, a fiance that would make you accountable and give yourself a time you would take to study. If it's at the end of every day for an hour, 2 hours on weekends, just do that. And one big advice I have is to not jump around on tutorials. So like I showed you on Udemy, there's a lot of classes you can take. And while sometimes you might have purchased the class and then realize you don't really like the teacher, it's okay to go for another class, but don't make it a habit. And this is especially why I prefer Team Treehouse because they give you a route to follow to get you to where you want to get to. By the way, they also have a tech degree that is more expensive and it might not be worth it. Just take the track. Um, so whatever class, whatever course you are taking, make sure you learn all the core technologies and don't get half knowledge. Of course, we are never going to learn everything at once, but make sure you get a full understanding. The basic core technologies that every web developer, even application developers, should know is are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And before jumping into any front end or back end technology, I will advise you to get a good grasp of object oriented programming, then move into a front end technology like React, Vue, and Angular. My advice would be to start with either Vue or Angular or React. Angular is a little bit more complicated, but based on my experience, I started with React, and the knowledge I got from React was able to help me to understand Angular and Vue. Then with backend technologies, you can use JavaScript as a backend technology, but I think for learning purposes, my advice would be to pick from any of these three, mostly because there is enough content to teach you on Java, C Sharp, and Python. Personally, I would say pick between C Sharp and Java because these languages are fully based on object oriented programming. And the knowledge of either of these two would help you understand any other programming language similar to them, like PHP, Python, Go. What other language can I think of right now? Swift, Dart, and so on. Then you need to understand structured query language. This helps you query databases, and there are different database technologies. You have MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and Oracle. And the core knowledge is similar. Sometimes there's just a syntactic difference between them. Then my next advice, this should take you about, I would say, if you go at a steady pace, making sure you're understanding everything you are learning and not going too and not being in a rush and doing all the practice projects in your tutorials. This should take you about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. Remember, you are not in a race with anybody. So after you've done all these and done the practice projects, I would say you should, like I said, complete this between 6 months and 1 year and build something. And by build something, I'm not only talking about the practice projects in your tutorials, I'm saying you should have something in mind that at the end of your course, you want to build to prove that you understand everything you've been learning. My first suggestion would be to build your own personal portfolio website. For me, my first application, my first build, different from my tutorials, was my own personal website. And this is hosted on, so this is my own personal website, which was my first main application. And I've developed and edited it over the years. But even 6 years after the first time I built it in WordPress, I built the application and I basically developed the theme and integrated it into WordPress. That was about 6 years ago, and you can see I've added these were projects I developed at the very beginning of my career. So build something similar to that, or anything you can think of something you can show potential employers that even though I have zero experience, I can build something. And don't forget, after building your first application, it's just the beginning of many more personal projects you should develop. Even after getting your own full-time job, you should still work it you should still continue working on personal projects. Like, I'm always building something new just to learn new technology and to improve myself. Another advice I have is to immerse yourself in the tech world, like join local meetups, subscribe to YouTube channels, join Facebook groups of aspiring developers, um, create a LinkedIn channel, connect to people. If you can make a friend with any web developer or software engineer, or find one as a mentor, they will help you navigate the world. And then, as your first job, develop a website for a friend. They might pay you just for hosting the website, and you can even do it for free, just to show that you can do something professionally, not just something for your personal self, something for somebody else. And if you have local businesses around you, develop a generic application, a generic website that you can fine tune to them. For instance, if you build a web application for a restaurant, show it to various restaurants. You can eventually find a restaurant that might be interested in purchasing it. Then start applying to junior web developer positions. There's so numerous avenues to do this. Indeed.com, Glassdoor.com, LinkedIn, even Facebook now has a job portal. And then I think this is very important. Be honest about your experience. your strengths and your limitations. The worst thing you can do to yourself is to bulldoze your way into getting a job that is required for somebody with more experience than you have. And then on the job, you are lost and your dream job becomes a nightmare. So be honest with your recruiter, your employer. Let them know you're a junior developer and you need to be in an environment where you can have mentors and somebody to hold your hands as you grow and get more experience. So those are all the tips I have to share with you from becoming a newbie to becoming from going from a newbie to becoming a web developer. Like I always say, I'm just an average person. I'm not smart. I could do basic maths in school, and I right now, even though I can't disclose it, but I'm working at a major auto insurance company as a software engineer. And if I could do that starting from zero, then you can too. And even though I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, tutorials and knowledge from online classes are really the things that got me my first job and applications I have built. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any advice for me as a on my YouTube channel, please share them. I really appreciate your subscriptions and your likes. Thanks for watching.